Started with a political, Rajiv Gandhi and Reagan went into an agreement in 1985. That was in fact the origin of the venture capital, because it gave me an idea, namely, if this is the way in which going forward, why don't I start venture capital movement in India?
Even private companies, they had to raise money, equity from investors at a price 25% higher than the par value of the share. They would have to get approval from CCI, Controller of Capital Issues, which would easily take over 6 months.
You can imagine the skepticism of many in the World Bank. We started with 4 VCs. This was 1988.
When we started initially, we used to go and tap into these research organizations like Indian Institute of Science and IIT. And the idea was to see if you can identify technologies which could be commercialized.
A number of private sector companies also joined this effort. Zydus Cadila, Torrent.
So we started a company called 20th Century Venture Capital Corporation in 1991.
We took several wrong decisions. We took quite a few right decisions also.
In 1991, we invested in Sun Pharmaceuticals, and then after that, we invested in almost close to 40-odd transactions in the pharmaceutical space. So we sort of dominated that sector at ICSA or at TDICA.
We never negotiated terms. All these term sheet negotiation, legal negotiation that we do now, they were non-existent in those days.
I was diagnosed with a cancer, and so I realized that I was the lowest paid Harvard MBA in the world when I was in CRISIL. I was getting 7,500 rupees salary. I opted for this private equity business, which at that time was very new to India.
Let's try to bring in new management by, in effect, privatizing.
And in that process, we were selected out of 40 candidates. They were shortlisted to 5, which included venturees.
It was extremely interesting as to, actually executing upon a control deal, because the control deal that we did was the very first one.
We chose to do a control transaction only because we were clear we could not partner with the owners, yet we liked and wished to align with the management.
But at that time, it was a breath of fresh air, namely that whole thing. And many of us were excited that this will mark a new chapter for in India's economy. At the time, I knew that CRISIL also would come up and TDIC also would come up.